welcome everybody to another episode of Talking Television. I'm Jay, this is Chris. Tonight we're talking about Game of Thrones Episode 5.
Yes, we are.
And it was a big one. So, the title of this episode is The Bells, the best that we can find. Keeps getting edited, so we'll see if that sticks.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is being really sneaky with releasing the name of the episode.
So we're going to go with The Bells for now. Tonight we are drinking a new bottle that we just opened. This is Wayne Gretzky's Canadian whiskey, number 99, finished in a red cask.
Yeah, this is the Red Cask Premium. I think it is the least expensive of his whiskeys. And we wanted to try it and see if it was different, and it's definitely different.
It is. It's really light and fruity. There's little to no burn whatsoever, and it's significantly sweeter than most of them that we've tried before. Yeah,
we were tasting it, just straight out of the bottle a little bit ago, and it was a little hard to, describe what the flavor was. It's almost wine-ish, but not quite, but definitely doesn't taste like a normal whiskey.
No. So if you're into that sort of thing, give it a shot.
Yeah.
We'll have to finish the bottle and get back to you if we buy it again. So.
Yeah, so it's a pretty inexpensive bottle, and they got, I think, 2 more tiers up, so maybe we will try those in the future.
Sounds good. All right, episode 5.
I love this episode.
Yes.
I haven't been a fan of the first 4 episodes it was before this. But I was almost smiling ear to ear this whole episode. I thought it was great. And I think it made up for the previous episode against the Night King, which looked like they were, budget saving, kind of doing it at night. Some of the props were hit or miss, and there was, awful tactics in that episode. But this one, I thought everything was, 10 out of 10. I thought the makeup was great. I thought cinematography was great. I thought there was actually some good tactics going on.
Yeah, speaking of the makeup, after we kind of see Varys, writing his little notes, trying to spread the word about Jon and his, true lineage, getting that out there. Dany, we find out, is, locked in her room, basically not wanting to talk to anybody. And, Tyrion goes in there and winds up talking to her. But when they show a close-up of her face, I mean, she just looks terrible. Mm-hmm. She looks, just stressed out and beat down, and
she looked dehydrated. And
yeah, so they did a good job with the makeup portraying her, in that condition.
Yeah, very malnourished looking. Her lips were super white, and
yeah, she you could tell she's been there for a little bit, and something was really bugging her.
Yep.
So yeah, talking about Varys, he's he keeps trying to get the word out there. That Jon is the one that should be king.
Yep. Not
Dany. And when she talks to Tyrion, he pretty much throws Varys under the bus and says, yeah, he's the one doing all this. He found out. Now he's trying to tell everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And Dany, pretty much believes Tyrion for his word. And, yeah, summons Varys in the middle of the night. And that's the end of Varys. She has him burned.
Yeah, so it looked like he was writing up some sort of a note about, who should have the proper seat on the throne.
Yes.
And, he heard the guards coming to get him, and, he threw it in the fire to get rid of the evidence. But, it didn't matter. I think his fate was already sealed at that point.
Yeah, and he probably knew that was coming. That might have been his sacrifices to try and get it spread as many places as he could before that time came.
Yeah, I think he knew it was coming, and I think he knew that this was something he had to do anyways, or at least give it a try, and, it is what it is.
But you could tell Tyrion, he obviously threw him under the bus and told Dany about him, but when the time came where he was going to get killed...
He told Varys about it, too.
Yeah, he said it was me. I'm sorry, this... It was unavoidable, basically. I'm not going to take the blame for it, so...
And he wasn't put on trial in front of, a bunch of people. He was just down on, a beach in a cave somewhere, and that was it. There was only about 5 or 6 people standing around watching.
And
the dragon.
And the dragon.
That was a super cool scene.
That was cool. He just came out of the darkness right over Dany, and you could tell that was it.
Yeah, and, when Varys is killed, he was completely silent. There was
no screaming,
no pain.
Nothing.
Did he do that on purpose, knowing he was going to die to not give them the satisfaction of, screaming in pain.
Could be. But it's been different than the other death scenes.
Yeah, it was a very unique death scene. Totally different than all the others.
Varys is out of the picture now. Dany obviously is very upset about what has transpired, and the fact that Jon is basically loved by the people, where she feels like she's feared by the people. And that's the theme throughout this episode, is the fact that she actually talks to Jon in the room after the fact, and that's what she says to him. And Jon's he says he loves her still, and I think she gave it one last attempt at a romance to see how he responded, and as soon as he pulled away from her, I think that's when she made her decision. All right, well, I guess I'm going to rule by fear, and you're not going to like it.
Yep.
But if you're not going to love me and accept me to be the queen, then it's over.
Yeah, so I think she made her decision at that point. There's no going back for the two of them. And I'm surprised she kept him around and didn't at least attempt to have somebody try and kill him. But maybe she knew she needed him for the battle first, and she's going to try it in the next episode.
Yeah, I think the next episode is the fight for the throne. So we'll see who sits on it.
Yeah, so we kind of called this order of events early in the season about which episode was going to be, against the Night King, and then a recovery episode. And then this episode was the fight for King's Landing, and then, the aftermath, or even, just the fight to get on the throne for the final episode. So it worked out that way, but this was such a satisfying episode.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I think Dany definitely makes up for her past battle blunders in this episode, and it kind of surpasses that a little bit too. So,
So one of the first things we see in this after we get past Varys dying is all the troops are starting to assemble outside of King's Landing, and there just happens to be a giant beach for them to set up camp, and there's tents everywhere and everything. And I kept thinking, well, tonight when they go to sleep, why don't they just rain down arrows from above? And maybe that kill too many, but what if they kill 10%? That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, they're still not going to be able to attack them from their position.
Yeah, there's no way they can fire back up.
Once again, battle tactics.
Battle tactics. That was one of the only things that really kind of stuck out to me, where I was like, why don't they do that? And how many battles have been fought at King's Landing? You think they would know about the beach, and that's where everybody's going to group at? They should have some way of... They're
definitely feeling pretty cocky inside the walls, with all their new battle armaments.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
They just felt like, okay, we have the upper hand. The Red Keep's never been taken before, so I highly doubt it's going to happen today. And they just kind of let them assemble and waited for the the attack the next day.
Yeah, so then we find out a little secret that Tyrion, he's talking to Dany, and she says, hey, we caught Jaime trying to sneak through our forces, and we have him in custody. And you see his brain start turning of, oh no, what can I do either to save him, or what was he off trying to do?
Yeah, and what we find out is, in this point, Tyrion is kind of more thinking about family than anything else. He winds up, talking to Jaime in the tent where he's being held, and he shoos the guards away. He kind of has a heart-to-heart with him and says, okay, you're the only one that can talk to Cersei. The only way we're going to save the city is for you to talk to Cersei, have her surrender or escape. You got to ring the bells in the city so that I can tell the troops to stop attacking as soon as they hear the bells, because then
we'll know that she surrendered.
The city surrendered, and there's no reason to kill any more people. So that's Tyrion's last-ditch effort to basically save the people and his brother.
Yeah, and he's sacrificing himself. He said, hey, 10,000 people can be saved, for one dwarf.
Yeah.
That's a good trade-off. And I think for his character arc, this is right in line with exactly what you would expect for him.
Yeah, he has a little bit of Lannister blood left in him to, try and save, the brother and some people. And, knowing that, that's probably going to cost me my life in the long term.
Yeah, because he knows what Dany's planning to do right now. He knows it's going to come down to her, killing all the innocent village people that have, now are inside the city walls. And, he doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't think that's right. And Dany had promised before she wasn't going to do that. But I think he knows it's coming.
After, learning that she killed Varys for finding out about, or trying to spread the word of Jon's, heritage, that she's really distraught and pissed. And yeah, she's willing to do anything at this point.
Mm-hmm. So the next morning we see kind of like a quick war prep montage, and you get all the scorpions out on the boat getting loaded. You get all of them around the city getting cocked and loaded and everything. And I kept thinking, why weren't those already loaded? What if the attack came in the middle of the night?
Yeah, like a half an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Once again, that should have been ready. Everything should have been loaded long in advance.
Yeah, days ago.
Not the morning of.
Yeah. So that was one of those things where, I nitpicking details here, but it was one of those, whenever you see a gunfight in a movie, they cock the gun. Yeah. It's like, was it not loaded?
It's good for TV. Okay, we're doing our last minute prep, so now we're ready. But yeah, you should have been ready. Yeah.
So right after that, we cut to Arya and the Hound in the city, and then we see Jaime in the city, and it's like, ooh, with all of them in there, are they going to have a big, input on the turn of events or not?
Well, right before, we see that Arya and the Hound, they make it into the city. Jaime, he's actually right outside of the doors, before they slam shut. Mm-hmm. So he has to take a bit of a detour to try and get in there.
And he knows the secret back way in.
He obviously knows he's,
I don't think it's that secret at this point.
But yeah, he raises his little brass hand trying to get the attention.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody sees him at that point. So he has to take the long route.
Yep. So the next thing we see is the ship's getting attacked by the dragon, which at first was like, oh god, she's diving right at him. She didn't learn. And magically, they didn't have auto reload or great aim this episode. I think this was much more in line with...
Yeah, they were 3 for 3 last time.
Yeah, which is...
way of a longer shot.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. But this one I think was more in line with them, having to relocate them or, shooting and missing. And once she starts taking down a couple of them, she starts, going up and down and all around the ship so they can't, get a lock on her or anything.
Obviously, the dragon can adjust, direction and elevation a lot quicker than they can, and she uses that to her advantage.
Yeah, I'm surprised the dragon didn't get, hit at least, once, even a minor, wound, but... Yeah,
I think she learned, and yeah, she just totally decimated the whole fleet.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was... she goes from there up to, blowing out the gates from the inside, and all her troops can come in, and then she starts taking all the scorpions, around the city.
Exactly, that's her biggest threat. So it was good to see her focus on that as opposed to, getting sidetracked or emotional at that point about, going after some other troops and then getting blindsided. Yeah. Which is kind of what I expected. I kept saying throughout the episode, something bad's going to happen. Yeah. I thought she was going to get, killed for, lack of paying attention, but she does a really good job and takes out all the big threats. And then she focuses on, blasting through the city wall so that her troops can come in.
Yep. And, one of the first troops through is the Dothraki again. And I thought they all died in the previous war, but we see them a couple times.
There's a few left, and they like being in the front lines. Yeah. Just charging on in, and they're still alive and kicking. Mm-hmm. The Unsullied are right behind there, along with the North. So, yeah, they just pour into King's Landing.
And then we see, the Kingsguard in there, and they surrender. They see the dragon, they throw their swords down, and...
It's a little bit of a, standoff for a bit. It's real quiet. Nobody's really, knowing what to do. And then one of the Kingsguard drops his sword, and, the rest follow.
I think at that point we also hear the bells start going off from Jaime.
Yep, the bells go off, and...
Well, I guess I thought that was Jaime. Maybe it was someone else?
I think it was actually the Kingsguard, because Jaime hadn't made it there yet.
Yeah, I don't think he made it all the way in.
He was still trying to get in there. Dany also hears that, at that time she had perched on one of the walls, just kind of surveying and seeing what was going on. She heard the bells, knowing that meant that they, the city was hers at that point. They surrendered, and there's no more need for, needless bloodshed. But being in the state of mind, and she made the decision to continue. And
Yeah, I think it angered her that they gave up and she didn't get to, get Cersei or anything. And that really built up and she said, fuck it, basically.
yeah, she saw in the distance the Red Keep was still standing strong. And that was kind of a symbol of, her past family getting it taken away. So yeah, she unfortunately made the decision to just decimate the rest of the city.
Yeah.
Just zigzag throughout the streets, killing, all the innocent townfolk, as well as, the Kingsguard and some of her own troops at the time.
Yeah, I was watching this and I was thinking, there's got to be friendly fire. She doesn't know exactly where all her troops are in the city. She might have known, generally they're on the north wall or the east wall or whatever, but
right.
There's no way she knew everybody, where they were. So there had to be people getting killed by the dragon. And I was also wondering, did they ever explain, does the dragon ever have to reload his fire? Does he have like a fuel that he burns?
That is a very good question. And I would say after this episode, no.
Because he starts to one end just up and down every street.
It seemed to be unlimited.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
That was something I've always thought about too. How long can, the dragon go before it's got to take a break?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if it's like a reptile and like venom, does he have a certain gland that, it builds up enough and then that's it? But that fire not only burnt stuff, but it was actually blowing out the spires and some of the towers and stuff. So like it actually has like a lot of power to it.
Yeah, it was like napalm mixed with, high explosive.
Mm-hmm.
It was very devastating.
Yeah, as soon as... Oh, let's talk about that decision from Dany. So, I mean, she's been known as the breaker of chains, freeing people and this and that. And she comes to this point and decides basically to just throw all that away. She kind of gave herself a out on that earlier in the episode where she said, God, I have to find my notes, but basically she justified it by saving future generations from tyrants by killing everybody there, as opposed to saving the people that are there right now. So I guess in her mind, that made sense, but to everybody else, they don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. She had reached a breaking point. All the past cities that she had taken, she took totally differently than she did King's Landing. And it was at the cost of the people. At this point, the people had given in, and I think she could have ruled just fine. I don't think she had to break their spirits and everybody involved the way she did to try and gain that power. She believes that she can only rule by fear, so that's the path she chose, and she went wholeheartedly towards that.
Yeah, as soon as she does that, we start seeing her troops kind of go, oh, well, everything's fair game then. And they start attacking the Kingsguard who had surrendered. They start pillaging and, just murdering everybody.
Going after the women and children.
Yeah, it kind of crazy how quick it all spiraled downhill.
Yeah, it was no holds barred at that point.
Back on the beach, we see Jaime getting in a fight. And,
Yeah, he finds the back entrance to the castle, what he's been searching for. And Euron crawls out of the ocean. Obviously his ship was destroyed. So he just happens to crawl ashore right when Jaime's going past.
He could swim with all that like chainmail and metal armor on.
He's the only one apparently. Nobody else can make it there.
Yep.
So yeah, Euron shows up and it's a battle. He pretty much tells them that he's the king now because he slept with Cersei.
Yeah, he says you want one less king to kill.
You're gonna be the real Kingslayer. You're really gonna have a legend now if you can take me out. So he only has a dagger while Jaime's actually got a sword, and they go back and forth, and Euron actually gets the upper hand and stabs him right through the torso with the dagger.
Yep, right through the side,
which kind of stuns Jaime, and he's down for a bit. There's a sword that Jaime winds up finding again, and Euron just happens to walk right up to him and get stabbed.
Yeah.
So
well, the script said so.
The script said so. So yeah, that was the end of Euron. And
we think. We didn't actually see him die.
We did not actually see him die, but that was a pretty mortal wound, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he seemed to be happy to be killed by Jaime because he thought, okay, well, I killed him too.
Yeah, he said, I'm the one that killed Jaime Lannister.
Yeah. So he was happy to be that guy, and he paid the ultimate price too.
Mm-hmm. And Jamie stumbles inside, and he goes and he just happens to find Cersei.
Yeah, they meet up towards the end.
And I guess at that point she had finally realized, hey, the city's not going to hold. All is lost. I need to get out of here. They'd taken her out of the tower. But up until that point, I mean, she really still thought she was going to win somehow.
Yeah, in fact, she kind of had to be pulled out of, the Red Keep towers. She thought that was still the safest place. I've got, all these other defenses. They're not going to be able to get through. And yeah, she's sadly mistaken.
Yes.
She's almost a little delusional at that point, thinking that she still had a chance and it was safe for her.
Yep. So I guess we got kind of just a nice emotional moment that the two of them saw each other. They embraced in a hug, and there was no fighting or I'm going to kill you or you did this or anything. And they were just both, I think, really happy to see each other again.
That's where Jamie, I think, ultimately wanted to die, is, in the hands of the one he loved. And unfortunately, towards the beginning of the season, we almost thought there's no way he could run back to Cersei. He's, fighting the Night King with us. He left her. He doesn't trust her anymore. But in the end, he ran right back to her. And
yeah, it's a total, turnaround on his character the last few seasons. So it's kind of an interesting way for him to go out. But he does go there, and, him and Cersei get crushed, it looks like, from the building. But with as many brutal and gory deaths that we saw, I'm surprised they didn't actually show them dying. Just even with just their legs sticking out and, a big thing of bricks on top of them.
Yeah, they didn't explicitly show the death, but it was understood that happened.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've done that some other times. And I'm like, okay, that person's dead. That's the end of them. And then boom. In fact, I think it happened with Arya several times this episode.
Yeah.
As she's fleeing through the city.
But I mean, I guess it was super anticlimactic, but they probably doing that on purpose just to subvert what we were expecting, some big glorious death for Cersei. And no, she just died in the bottom of the tower, and that was it.
Yeah, I think this episode switched focuses towards, killing Cersei to now what are we going to do with Dany after what she did to everybody in the city. So I think the shift is starting to happen with, okay, who's really the bad person now?
Yeah, and I think the whole end sequence of this episode, that all starts to twist, and we really see that Dany was supposed to be the great savior, but she's just another, tyrant killer like the rest of them.
Trying to do anything to get the throne.
Yeah, because, we see Arya running around the city, basically trying to stay out of the dragon's fire, and we really see all these interaction with all these people that are still left in the city, and they're just women and children trying to survive, and a lot of them die, and it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, the showrunners, they said that was the point they wanted to make with this, is to give you the perspective from the ground as Dany's flying overhead with the dragon just decimating everything, what it looked like from down below, for all the townspeople. And it was really brutal. Arya several times almost got killed herself, and they kind of highlighted mother and daughter that were fleeing as well close by, and she finds them huddled in a building and says, you're gonna die if you stay here, follow me, let's go. Unfortunately, it turns out that they died anyway in the street trying to survive, and yeah, it was just a real brutal way to go, and Arya, you could see in her eyes, she really felt like, okay, now I need to do something about this, because this isn't acceptable.
It's not right.
Yeah, this isn't acceptable anymore.
And Arya had such a huge impact, against, the Night King. And in this episode, she was almost anonymous. Nothing would have changed if she wasn't there. And towards the end, she's covered in blood and dust and dirt and everything. And she almost just looks like a generic village person trying to survive. And
yeah, her title, her name at that point,
it didn't matter.
Nobody knows who she is. Everybody's just fighting to survive.
But she did survive. She found a horse. I think it was as tall as her, and it didn't have a saddle, but somehow she got on top and rode out.
Nice white horse, and that's how the episode ended, was her riding through the decimated streets.
Mm-hmm.
One fight that I think we should talk about a little bit is before Cersei actually gets down to meet with Jaime. she actually encounters the Hound, who on this, the staircase down from the tower, and the Hound pretty much lets her go past. He's not there for her. He's there for the mountain. He's got some brotherly beat down to put. So,
yeah, he's got some sibling issues. I think we all do.
Yeah. Obviously, the mountain had burned him when he was younger, gave him the fear of the fire, and just was a horrible person. So he meets him on the stairs, lets Cersei go, and the mountain is all about fighting him at that point.
That was a great battle.
Yeah, it was. In fact, the mountain even killed Qyburn, just threw him to the side, and he's like, all right, I'm done with you. We're going to end this now. Mm-hmm. And it was a great battle. I mean, it was back and forth, and the mountain was, he was pretty much superhuman.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the Hound did to him. He stabbed him everywhere you could, even through the head.
Still straight to the forehead.
And in the end, the only thing that killed him was they both died in the fire.
Yeah, the Hound, realized, hey, I can't beat him, so, at least with a sword, so, we're going to go out together. And he just, runs at him, grabs him, goes through the wall, straight over the edge and into the fire, which is his biggest fear, before this, so.
Yeah, that was his retaliation, his revenge that he's been dreaming about pretty much throughout the whole series. He's been kind of leading up to this, and he told Arya to go away. That if you follow me up this path, you're going to die as well.
You're going to die too.
I know you want to kill Cersei, but if you come with me, we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. So you've got so many more things you can accomplish in your position that I can't. But he has that kind of brotherly love for her, and ends up saving her life, in the last episode as well. So, but he finished his path.
Yep.
He took them both out.
So I figured we would get some sort of a shot of the Iron Throne somewhere in this episode, but I don't think we saw it at all.
Not once.
Not even a glimpse.
And I think it's pretty much assumed that it's got to be destroyed.
Yeah, if not destroyed, it's buried in the rubble somewhere.
It's got to be somewhere there, but maybe it stood the test, and obviously I think we'll have to see it next episode.
So, speaking of that, what do you think we're going to see next episode? What's going to wrap up? Who's still left out there?
Great question.
I think we're going to go back to Sansa.
Yeah, Sansa, Jon. I believe Arya's got her mindset on going after Dany now.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I think Dany's got a target on her back now just because of what she did. Jon is obviously disappointed with her. There's got to be some struggle battle that's come to a head. So I think Jon's going to end up sitting on the throne. I think he might survive. Either Jon or Sansa.
Yeah, I think Jon will as well. I think they've been building up to that for so long. It would. I can't see them, having him, die or just walk away from it all or anything.
Even though that's all he says is he doesn't want the throne.
Yeah, he's been saying that for a long time, but he keeps going right back at it because he knows that he does a better job than some of the other people that want power.
Well, one more week and we'll find out.
Yeah, next week. Hopefully HBO's streaming services will be able to handle it.
I'm sure it's going to be bogged down. Everybody's going to be watching. That's going to be... So we'll see. We'll have to, tune in next week, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, we only got one more week, and then we were thinking about doing a whole series wrap-up now that Game of Thrones is going to be over. It was such a big cultural event for the last decade.
Exactly. Not only is the series there's so much to talk about, but yeah, it's been 10 plus years of affecting the culture and other shows as well. So yeah, I'd like to do a show on that and kind of recap it.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions for us on that, post them below or send them to us on social media. All of our links are right here. We're at Southport Media on most locations: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yeah, once again, the support's great. Please like, subscribe, comment. We're always, we enjoy chatting with you guys and trying to build the channel. So any support you guys can throw our way, we really appreciate it.
And tomorrow night, we're going to be filming Chernobyl.
Yeah, episode 2.
Episode 2.
Can't
it's
wait.
Gonna be exciting.
Episode 1 was huge for us, so...
Yeah, thank you all. If you came back and you're watching our Game of Thrones episode, we appreciate it.
Yes. yeah, we've got a lot to talk about on that show too.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and that's it for this episode.
We'll let you know when we get a little further into the Wayne Gretzky 99 here, what we think of it.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.